From our perspective, one of the main challenges is the reluctance of the member states to really take on board implementation and enforcement of EU directives. From our point of view, those directives already create a good framework, and if they were properly and substantially implemented at a member state level, we would already see a sea change in the way that renovation of buildings and energy performance in buildings generally is improved. But I would probably also like to highlight the fact that in the EU legislation there is still a lack of coherence in the framework, and in certain good provisions we simply don't have the right words in the EU level directive. I'm referring here to the requirement for renovation roadmaps, where member states are allowed to simply prepare one and report it and are not required to implement it. So I think this is maybe one of the key areas where we need further work, and certainly one on which EuroACE and its member companies see a great need and are looking forward to the challenge of the revisions of the Energy Efficiency Directive and Energy Performance of Buildings Directive in the next, let's say, 18 months. I think we could trigger ambitious renovation by using a couple of motivators and a couple of drivers. One, I think we need to help member states understand the precarity of the energy system in Europe, and in particular our huge dependence on imported energy. Two, I think we need to help member states to better understand that there are huge social and economic gains to come from investing in renovation of buildings. And thirdly, we need to ensure that the actors in the national level are ready to collaborate and work together towards creating coherence and ambition in renovation works across Europe. So in addition to looking with a cold eye at the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive and the Energy Efficiency Directive, taking into account the long-term goals of the European Union and being honest about how we can achieve them, EU policymakers do need to be more ambitious in their calls on the member state, so that when proposing legislation, that legislation is already ambitious. I have a sentiment that in recent years the Commission has tended to make proposals for legislation that they believe will definitely be acceptable to the member states, and we have seen that it never is, and it's always watered down to a certain extent. I think the Commission could, in proposing legislation, actually propose something a bit stronger at the start, and then let the negotiations take their course, so that we will end up with ambition inside the legislation at EU level.